with Donald 34%, Sartori 25%, and Methven 5%.
Well, here we go.
Dreyfus,
They're now
has
talking on
confirmed he
Talk
owns
Sport about Sunderland.
41% of the club. We'll get into the teeth of this in a minute, but certainly back in May 2021 when he took over, he outlined his ambitions to me as the new owner of Sunderland.
As you know, football unfortunately is not something where you can give guarantees, and we had this for 20 years, and when we will start saying, we will definitely, what we can guarantee is that we'll try our best, and we will work as hard as we can to increase the likelihood of success as much as we can. And obviously the fans of Sunderland have been one of our great weapons and great help for the players. I think if we have their support, it will help us achieve our goals over the next couple of years.
Can you promise, Kiddo, can you promise these supporters listening to you and I on TalkSport right now that you're in this for the long haul, that you're committed long term?
Definitely, Jim. To be honest, as I mentioned before, with the last two teams that we owned, we're both had them for 2 decades and then slightly more. So I'm definitely here for the long term, and hopefully there's a lot of good things to come over the years.
So that was Kiddo speaking to me back in May 2021. But then when this emerged last night, Simon, quite a number of Sunderland fans on social media were saying, hang on, have we been misled here? Who owns the club? So Kiddo Louis Dreyfus, who you just heard there, last night put out a statement. And he says, as previously stated, I have executive control of the running of the club, something that was a fundamental requirement upon the purchase of my shares. And the executive management team report directly to me on a day-to-day basis. So it sounds like he's the boss.
Yeah. Yes, he is. I mean, look, it's a strange one, and without being salty, it's not his money, it's his father's money. And the amount of money that his father has, you would have thought, would have taken out people like Stuart Donald and Charlie Methven, because really and truly, they weren't the best owners for Sunderland.
Absolutely not.
They bought Sunderland pretty much with Sunderland's own money by discounting Premier League payments, bringing them forward and utilising that as an opportunity to buy the football club, which will of course have enraged Sunderland fans, and they're privy to that now, they know that. And of course the ownership didn't produce anything vaguely resembling what they anticipated. Now, the fact is that these guys, we've got this figure slightly wrong here, because if we put Donald at 34%, Sartori at 25% and Methven at 5%, that means they've got 64%, and they don't. They have 59%. But the bottom line is that if the voting criteria has been changed, they may hold the economic value of these shares, but they might have changed the voting parameters within the confines of your shareholding. So you might get 2 votes. Young Kid might get 2 votes for every 1 vote that they get. So he gets the majority voting situation to be able to control the direction of the club.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look great, because I don't know what Sunderland was bought for, but I don't imagine it was bought for anything much beyond 50 million quid. And if you're talking about that kind of money for a football club with the kind of wealth that's behind this kid, it's slightly perplexing as to the reasons why these characters would still be in the mix and not have been taken out at the time.
Well, hang on, Simon. Even I get the fact that, I mean, look at Everton. When Mashiri got over 50% shareholding of the club, he became majority shareholder.
Different animal, different dynamic.
Oh, we're going into the section of blackout on the city.
Money to buy the football club, and the scale of purchase. If you have to buy Everton, right, you're going to spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds to buy Everton. If you're going to buy Sunderland, you're going to spend far less, because at this moment in time, the economic value of Sunderland, not the emotional value, the economic value, is far less than Everton.
So is Kiddo? He's the majority shareholder.
No, he is the majority shareholder because he's the biggest individual shareholder.
Hence he's the owner.
If you are collectively, but he's the owner. He's the chairman of the football club. Right. He's the majority shareholder in this business. If you were to come together and put the other guys together for some reason best known to themselves, on paper it looks like they've got 59%. But if the criteria behind the voting rights has been changed in the memorandum and articles of association of that limited company that owns Sunderland, then you will find probably that the controlling influence sits with Dreyfus.
Yes.
But notwithstanding that, the argument is, why? Why do they still have an economic interest in Sunderland?
Donald and the rest.
Correct.
And why do they?
Well, I would assume it's because they wanted to retain an economic value, because you can have a shareholding in a business without having the voting rights to go behind it. So what it means is, if the club got sold for 100 million quid, Stuart Donald would be standing there saying, well, where's my 34%?
Right.
And you'd want to know what, and quite frankly, why would that be the case? Why would you want these guys? You have the ability, you've got the cash to turn out the lights of most of these guys. Why wouldn't you have done it in the first instance? Why would you be mucking about with them still as shareholders?
Just buy them right out.
Unless he's going to make moves. if they've got no power
Because
over the day-to-day running of the football
Well,
club.
if you want to own something, you own it. You kind of don't muck about. Because
Yeah, I think timing's everything, though. I think if
I'll tell you, okay then, Trev, it's unsuccessful right now.
Yep.
You build it up successful, and then you've got to pay them a premium. Why in God's name would you do that?
Yeah, but maybe you could preempt that and you could set it up to where you, as a business plan, you feel, right, we're about to go successful, we'll sell it now.
Yeah, but basically you're saying, why is Kirrell allowed these three still to be in the mix at all?
If you take them out of the worst possible, you're going to get them out cheapest at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right? The most expensive part is when you start building success.
I understand
you're
that.
bankrolling it. They're sitting in the background because you're damn sure they ain't going
Because
to match you.
we were close to starting to achieve something halfway through this season.
They've been in the playoffs under these guys,
Yeah.
right? And they're going to be under the playoffs under this guy, right? So they're in the same sort of space. Getting out of the division is a success, not being in the playoffs. And the argument is, why would you, with all this money, and he's got a significant amount of money behind him from his dad,
Yeah.
why would you muck about with these guys still having any interest? Maybe 5% or 10%,
Yeah,
right?
but it's a
Because
decent
that's
amount, isn't
incidental,
it? Yeah.
right? And if you're prepared to give up 5% of the returns of the business, if there's a reason behind it, but why would you allow, even if you change the voting rights, the economic value of those shares are still the
59%,
same?
yeah.
Sure.
Why?
Sure,
Why would
sure.
you let them have it?
It's a good question. We shall get to that in the fullness of time.
You should
In the
answer it.
meantime, Kirrell is the owner. So Sunderland fans this morning should not be feeling in any way misled.
White and Jordan on TalkSport with Times.
Well, there we go. That's Simon Jordan and company on Talk Sport. But that's the take. That's their take on things. The bottom line is Donald and Co. being still there. It's just destroying. It's just destroying the club. I mean, I've said all along the evidence for them still being part of the problem, and that they have more say than what they think that we think that they have. Not got to say is the evidence on the pitch. The performances that we've been doing, the transfer windows have been absolutely awful. It's a carbon copy of when Stuart Donald Methven was in control of the club when they first came. There's the fact that there's no difference this season, presumably when we all thinking Krill Louis Dreyfus is fully in charge. Well, the evidence is no, he's not. Because A, we're shite, B, the transfer windows are absolutely awful. We're miles behind the top two once again. There's no difference. So there we go, you heard it on Talk Sport there. There's still a lot of sorting out to do, a lot of answers, and I didn't want an apology. I just do what they need to do to just get out the club. I didn't want you anywhere near. You're just destroying it. Have a good day, folks. See you later.